Random Talk with Kim is a show where we talk about people, places, and events. We explore interrelated concepts about how things function in an increasingly hyper-connected society. We communicate beliefs and expectations about different aspects of the world.
Welcome to Random Talk with Kim. Today's guest will be Sunni Harley. Hi Sunni, how are you doing today?
Fine, thank you for having me.
Oh, Sunni, I would like to know just a little bit about you.
Okay, well, my name is Sunni. I'm from California, born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, and moved to Sacramento, Northern California in 2008, and I love being here. It's where I belong, at the top.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So tell me a little bit about what you're here for today.
I'm here to talk about my book club that's open to the public, and I try to keep it as diverse as possible. Men and women, even children are invited and welcomed.
Oh, very cool, very cool. Well, with your book club, how long have you been doing it?
I guess you could say since I was about 5. My mother was my first member. I couldn't figure out how she could read my kindergarten books so fast. It took me all week.
Oh, what was your kindergarten book? What was the first book that you've done?
Oh, See Jane Run, of course. And she would read it and she would say, "Oh, this is so cute." And I'm like, "You finished it already?" So she was my first book club member, and she went along with my shenanigans. And I've been doing it ever since. And I just love books, and I love to put on events. So I put the two together and I create an event based on a book.
Yeah. Well, what about your favorite books?
Oh, wow. There are so many. I try to lean toward local authors because it's a real treat when the author is able to come. But when I do authors internationally, I can Skype them in, and that works well too.
Yeah.
So I receive books from authors and publishing companies from all over the world on a regular basis. And that's how the books are chosen. I get requested by the actual authors or the publishing companies.
Oh, very cool, very cool. So you get to do local and international.
Indeed.
Yeah. Oh, well, what about the different languages? Do they come in different languages, or are they sending you ones in English only? That way you're able to read them.
Right, English only. But yes, there are books that have been published in various languages. And I've been able to feature those books in English, of course.
Yeah, I find that really cool.
Yeah, it is.
So you were also saying that you invite kids. Now, for the kids, what type of books would they have available?
Well, one of the books that I sponsored is called the Feel Good Book. It was designed specifically for terminally ill children. And we donated those books to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and those books have been shipped all over. Anywhere the Make-A-Wish Foundation is, those books have been given to children suffering from cancer and things of that nature. And what it is a workbook with the parents and the children can work together on it.
Yeah, so they're able to do reading and then filling in the words, or is it reading and coloring?
Reading and coloring and little projects as well.
Oh, nice. So when you have some of the events, do you have it to where they're a little bit more interactive?
Oh, well, what I do is I create the event based on the book. For example, I did Wristwatch by Tajai Antoine. And that was a book about a gentleman that had fought in the Vietnam War. So what I did is I hosted the event at the Military Museum, and I had the Tuskegee Airmen brought in via limousine.
Oh, wow.
And flew the subject matter in from Texas, and the military themselves showed up.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. So you get all over support, not just,
Right.
our local, but the real international and global.
Indeed.
So that's really great.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's something I get very much involved in. It's something I really enjoy. And I target the audience according to the book.
Oh, that's great. That's really great. Well, do you have some events that may be coming up?
Yes, I have a regular event that's hosted at the Classy Hippie Tea Company every first Sunday of the month. It's called Set It Off Sunday, where we bridge the gap, the generational gap between the baby boomers and the millennials. The subject matter is music, because that's a global language. And so we get together, we talk about music, and we break bread every first Sunday of the month at Classy Hippie Cafe at noon. And then I have a really big event coming up on December the 1st called Listen and Be Heard. It's going to be at 5 o'clock on 21st and L Street at the William Jerry Theater. And that's where a multitude of authors of all genres will be interviewed on stage. And they'll be able to talk about their books, and the audience will be able to get, I would say, like a test drive of the book before they purchase the book. And it'll just be a lot of fun, and everyone will be able to get a chance to hear and interact and speak to the authors, as well as poetry. There are going to be songstress, a comedian, and painters will be there as well.
Yeah.
Yes. And everyone is going to be local.
Oh, that's
local talent.
great. That's great. So some of the local talents will actually be able to be featured.
Yes.
People will get to know them.
Yes.
That's great. That's really great. Yeah, because sometimes if they're out of town or out of country, you don't really get a chance to really meet them unless they're doing a signing or something like that.
Right.
So that's really good. So with your events, do they have a way to being able to find out about that information?
Right. I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram, the Princess Book Club.
Princess Book Club. All right. Well, that's really great. All right. So I do want to ask, so with the book club, how much of the community outreach are you actually doing? Are you doing any of that type of stuff?
Yes, I do a lot of networking with a lot of different organizations, and that's how I'm able to get the biggest turnout. One of my favorites that I work with is autism. With the UC Davis Mind Institute. That's something that is close and near and dear to my heart, and so I'm able to get involved with it like that, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I actually do have some family members, like my husband, he's high functioning autistic. So I can actually understand that we have different levels of autism, and some people have the need for help, and some of the individuals are actually able to function just like regular people, have jobs and everything else. Do you get a flex of the individuals who are really needing help and assistance, and the ones that are able to actually function just like regular people?
Yes, not only that, I've been working with them for so many years that I've actually seen how they've gone from low level to high level.
That's good.
Been brought out of their shell, and they've been able to explain what they were thinking or what was going on before they were even able to articulate that.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So having that communication with them and giving them that more comfort level has brought them out of their shell.
Indeed.
Oh, that's
with
wonderful.
A lot of professional help.
Yeah, that's wonderful though. So with the community base that you're helping with, is there any other programs that you're doing?
I do a lot of work with the local school district. I do their ice cream socials and things like that for the special education children and things like that. And also, anytime there's anything that has to do with literature, I'm involved in that.
Yeah, well, I find that really interesting because I come from being a person with disabilities and a person with dyslexia. So I have learned that, you know, it really does take a lot of time to just try to like hone in on what our issue is so that we're able to actually read, because reading out loud for myself, I don't even think that I would even do it, because I feel like when I come up to a certain word that I don't know how to pronounce it, I kind of shy away. I'm like, okay, don't even say it out loud because you're gonna mess it up.
Right.
But now that I've gotten used to it, I just kind of like, oh, well, yeah, I have dyslexia. I just tell people like straight up, like, oh, I'm sorry, I might not be able to spell that without the paper actually being printed out. So that way I can actually see how it's actually done, instead of that, just sound it out. Because we were taught that, you know, you just sound it out, but we're in the English language. There's no just sound it out. You really have to physically see the word and how that actually is spelled out to be able to do it yourself as well. Because we do sound a lot of stuff out and it doesn't actually come out right.
Right, and in today's educational programs, we have finally evolved to understanding that there are all types of learning. We learn differently.
Yes.
And so that's being addressed, and I'm so happy.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Everyone's not being, put in the same box and colored with the same paintbrush. We accept the fact and realize that everyone sees things differently and have different perspectives. Yeah,
that's very true. Very true. Do you do anything with our local libraries or anything?
Oh yes, definitely. They have a lot of programs going on at the library. A lot of people don't realize the richness that goes on at the library. They have a makerspace where you can go in there and you can make videos and things like that. They have that I'm involved in that, and they have a theater at the Central Library downtown. They have a lot of contests and things like that. They have where you can help children learn, because I believe that today's readers are tomorrow's leaders.
Very
so
true.
That's what I teach the kids, and I teach them to learn and help them along the way.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, do you guys do any outreach?
Yeah, we do a lot of outreach through the Urban League. They go to the elementary schools and help children to learn, because they actually have a scale that if a child is not up to grade by the time they're in the third grade, they consider them, on the fast track for prison.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's very sad, but
that is very sad. I didn't even know that they actually kind of scaled the kids like that.
And that's how they decide
change.
How many prisons there should be in the future.
Yeah, that's a big change from when we were younger. I mean, I don't even know if they actually did that when we were kids, to kind of range, are they going to go to prison or be in jail, or are they going to be an upholding citizen? And just because we can read or be able to actually learn, that's really crazy.
Yeah, so when I started my book club, I had absolutely no idea how important it was or how big it was. It was just something that I had a passion for, and I'm so glad that I do.
Yeah, no, I like that. I'm interested in finding out a lot more. So the reason why I'm saying that is because with our community at large, how have they actually received you? Have they really have open arms and very welcoming?
Oh, you wouldn't believe. I'm very receptive. I come up with an idea and I throw it out there and get a really good turnout, and it shocks me. It shocks me every time. What I'm doing, Listen and Be Heard, that's coming up December 1st, I've done it before on a whim. I was at a venue, Shift's Cafe on Del Paso, and the owner, Bob Shift, he came and he said, I really like what you're doing. And he said, you're more than welcome to use my venue.
That's great.
I said, well, don't tempt me with a good time, because I will really throw a big, shindig over there. I had a great turnout, and authors showed up, poets showed up, songstress showed up, and we had an awesome time. He has grilled cheese sandwiches, gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches.
Oh, see, now that's great.
Yes.
You can't beat that.
So I was supporting a local business and all the local talent at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was at the top, top of the world for me. You know?
Most definitely. Yeah. So with our community and stuff, now, are you guys doing any homeless outreach or anything to connect with our homeless population?
No, actually, I haven't done anything so much for the homeless. I've done the children's books and for the terminally ill children, and we do Autism is My Philanthropy. But outside of me personally having a genuine concern for the homeless and being involved in voting and things like that, personally I have. Yeah. But as far as the book club, I haven't.
Yeah, that may be something to look into.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, especially with the holidays coming.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So what about family and stuff like that? Do they get involved with the club?
Okay, so my family, they are very supportive. For example, I have a sister, she bought me these little bookcases. that I have actually used to set up mini libraries all over the city.
Oh, wow.
So yes, I have one at Cap City on 21st and Broadway. I have another at Workflow Lounge off of Bradshaw, which is a community workspace. So I just set them up in little mini libraries. So when the authors and the publishing companies send me their books, I don't keep them hoarded in my home where they're, not to be shared.
Yeah.
They're definitely, the authors put their heart, guts, and soul into these books. And I feel it's something that should be shared and not just kept, to my own self, as much as I love them. So I created the mini libraries, and that way the whole community can enjoy them.
Yeah, that's great. So it's good to know that we actually have a little, like mini libraries that we're able to go to in different locations to be able to get those same books. And then do they do to where they're bringing them back?
Right.
Or are some people just keeping them?
Actually, they've been pretty good.
Yeah.
I have a little, checkout system.
Oh,
and they
good.
check them out and they bring them back.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
And they're very much impressed. And, some of the books I've actually sponsored. For example, Angela Holmes, I sponsored her first book, which is called Lukewarm. And that's done so well that she's on her third book.
Oh, great.
And we're looking into making her book a movie.
What?
Indeed. In fact, when I do put on the events, I have scouts come out to the events to listen to the author speak, just in case it's something worth bringing to the big screen.
Bring it to the big screen. Now that is something to know.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So with your helping with the community and with the family involvement, especially with your sister, that's like really wonderful.
Yes.
Are there anything that other people are helping you with? Like maybe your friends?
Well, they show up, and whenever they see anything that they think would correlate with my book club, for an example, the venue that I'm going to, the William Jerry Center. A friend of mine showed me that theater, and I was very much impressed with it. It is the cutest little theater, and so I'm going to be hosting my event there. So
the one that's coming up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, on 21st and L Street.
Yeah.
So whenever they see anything, a tiara or a scepter or anything that has to do with Princess, book club, they'll buy it for me.
No, that's great.
Yeah, nice?
Yeah, no, because a lot of times you ask friends, if they find something, go ahead and get it. And sometimes they're like, I don't know if you would like it. But your friends are like, no.
They know
I'm gonna
exactly
get that.
what I like. Yes.
Yes. So those are good friends.
Yes.
Those are really good friends. Keep them. Keep them.
Yeah, I might let them stick around for a little while.
Yeah. Well, we're also headed into the holidays of Thanksgiving. Was there anything that you're thankful for?
Well, I'm thankful for this interview. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful
you.
for Access TV. There's such a richness of wealth here, and so many people in the community should really know about this. And I really want to spread the word because we should pack the house every night. This is a totally awesome place with the state-of-the-art equipment, and talking millions of dollars were donated into this establishment, and rightfully so. This is a wealth of information here, and I'm so impressed, and I'm very, very grateful to Access TV. Thank you so much for the interview. Yes.
Yeah. Well, do you have any other talents other than being the Princess Book Club?
Not that I know of. I don't think so. I'm really happy with what I do. I'm really good at putting events together and planning events, and so I, put the two together, and it makes for a wonderful book club, something new and different.
Yeah.
Where most book clubs are comprised of, a group of friends. They may meet at someone's house.
Yeah.
Whereas mine is open to the public.
Yeah.
And it's an actual event.
Yeah, no, that's really good. So are you meeting a lot of new people?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Each time I host a book club, I meet a whole new set of people. For example, when I featured Hidden Figures, which was about, astrology and things like that, I had NASA come out. And, yeah, space engineers. I had never met them before.
That would be really nice. Space engineers on here too.
Right, and so they knew a lot more than what I could ever fathom.
Yeah, well, they are the engineers. Yeah.
So it was really impressive and an honor to be in their company, and I really appreciated, the fact that they did come out and
that's great.
my little modest book club.
Yeah. Well, I know that we just ended with the Halloween. What did you do for Halloween?
Well, I handed out toothbrushes, so I got my house egged.
How did it say? Well, our community should be nicer.
Yeah, I did. I handed out individually wrapped toothbrushes to the children, little children's toothbrushes.
Yeah, no, that's great, because not all kids can actually have candy. So, I mean, that's actually a good alternative to the candy that they're getting. You don't have to brush them teeth anyway.
Right, or the ones that did get the candy, they're going to need the toothbrush. So that's how I saw it. And they were happy about it, too.
I probably would have been real happy too, because it's something you don't get. It's something that, like, recently we've been kind of changing it up, giving the kids different stuff, but giving them some health items, that's actually probably the better way to go.
Right.
Because it's everyday items they're going to use anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then they probably won't throw those away. They'll throw them in their backpack if they ain't going to use them at home. So yeah, definitely. I find that very funny though.
It was.
Yeah.
I didn't know how well it was going to go over, but it went over well.
Yeah, because I thought about doing like erasers or pencils and erasers, so at least they would have some school supplies, but you beat me with that one. That's like the best. I know all the dentists are like, yeah, she's got it. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to find out a little bit more. So do you have any like surprise events that you may be doing, like maybe even next year?
Well, yes. I have an annual tea party that I plan.
Oh.
Yes, and that's the biggest event that I have all year. It's for domestic violence awareness, because the women had been battered and abused so badly that I had to think of a way to make them feel feminine. And so that was the best way I came up with, was a tea party.
Yeah.
And that started with a book written by Anna Marie and Dana DeMacco, as well as several other survivors. It's actually an anthology. And the publishing company contacted me and asked if I wanted to be involved with the book release. And I was so impressed that I decided to throw an event just for the book. And that's how it got started. I think it started in 2015, and I just kept it going ever since, due to popular demand.
Yeah, I would say definitely that is a very popular demand item. I wish that it wasn't, but it actually is. Yeah.
Just bringing the awareness and educating people about the importance of being empathetic to the victim and not blaming, the victim.
Yeah.
A lot of organizations get involved, and they come out and they speak, and they make contributions with giveaways and things like that. And so that's my biggest event, and the one I am most proud of. Yes.
Yeah. Well, have you done any books that, like for yourself, like writing anything that you've done?
I get asked that a lot, and I have absolutely no desire to be a writer. I love to read. I receive a lot of manuscripts this year. I've read over 300 manuscripts and edited, and I love to edit manuscripts. It's a lot of fun to me. It's something I really, really enjoy. I've never had a desire to write.
Yeah.
I just love to read.
Yeah, so do you like the when you read your manuscripts and you're doing the editing, do you ever feel like you want to rewrite it for them, or are you just saying, okay, just a little bit here?
Oh,
Because
I
you know,
have rewritten.
some people they feel like I want to rewrite their whole thing, like right after they wrote it. Sometimes they feel like they'll make it better.
Right.
So,
I
yeah.
have rewritten it and submitted it to them as a suggestion.
Yeah.
I've never been denied the suggestion.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So you are a writer, but you don't like being a writer.
I guess so. Inadvertently, yes. Inadvertently, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And another one of my favorite things to do is as a thank you gift to the authors when I receive their books in the mail, I like to stage them and take pictures of them, and then I send it back to them, and usually they're so impressed they use it for advertisement on Amazon and things like that.
Oh, that's great. So you do have more talent. See, you were saying that you don't have these talents, but you do. So you actually do take a couple of the photos and stuff like that, and they actually use them.
Oh yes.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. That takes talent. Know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, were there any other things that you wanted to bring up to let people know about?
Just the importance of voting, since that's the hot topic right now. Please vote. We've been really pushing for that. Not to sit on the sideline and complain, but to roll up your sleeves and get involved.
Oh yeah.
With that, and definitely read, because that must be important. It must be in order for them to decide whether or not they're going to be prisons or not. I tease some parents sometimes, and I say, if you want your kids to read, turn the volume down on the TV and put on the captioning. Voila, they're reading.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, because we do it when it's a different language, so people would automatically be reading anyways.
Right.
So they're not going to know whether it's the English portion or if it's the non-English portion.
Right.
That's very smart. Very smart. And then the kids will actually have to be looking at the TV all the time too, because they have to know what's coming up.
Exactly.
Yeah, gives them that attention awareness.
Right. If you can't get them away from the TV, you find an alternate way to, get them to read. It's so important.
Yeah.
It helps develop the mind and gets creativity involved. I remember my college professor telling me that I should read fiction to my children, because I never did. I always read them, history books and things like that. And I said, okay, I didn't realize. And she said, yeah, it helps them to develop creativity.
Yes.
And so
yeah.
I said, okay. And I went home and I tried to read my son a book about Humpty Dumpty, but by then I had already... So he wouldn't let. He said Humpty Dumpty did not fall off the wall. He was pushed. So it was hilarious. And I said, oh boy,
that is hilarious. He didn't just fall. He was pushed.
Yes. Yeah, so I tease him about it all the time. But reading is a pretty big deal. And I'm glad. It's my favorite pastime.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what do you think about with the digital readers? I mean, is that kind of changing the dynamics of our regular books?
Yeah, I think so. That's been a big discussion, especially when it comes to poetry, because when it goes digital, it doesn't flow as well as it does when it's, written on steel paper.
Yeah.
Because, it may not line up the same way. So that's been a big problem for poets. I personally like a hard book. I just love, an actual physical book in my hand. I love to sniff them. I love books. But, I do have the digital as well. So I bounce back and forth depending on, what's convenient for me at the time.
Yeah.
And I catch the train to work just so I can read, I've had people come up to me and, what you reading? And I'm like, that's the worst thing to ask. The person that's reading. And so I just laugh and I tell them. And then they want to, find out about the book club, and I go ahead and I let them know.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. So with your reading and stuff like that you do for personal, what types of readings do you enjoy best?
That's a good question. So in my book club, I let everyone know we read anything but trash, because that happened many years ago. The way I would pick the books out is everyone's name would go on a can, and then whoever's name got pulled got to pick the next book. Well, one time a book was, I won't say the name, was picked, and I went forward with promoting the book and promoting the event. And when I, read the book, I was so blown. I mean, it blew my hair back. I was shocked. This was...
It was out there.
Like, what are they? Like 50 Shades of Grey type thing,
Oh, so okay. Yeah.
And
that's why your hair got blew back.
Oh, it was my biggest turnout. People came from out of the woodwork for this one. And they were like, oh, we can't wait for the next book. And I said, okay, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to get rid of the can. It was funny. And so thereafter, that's when I decided I would allow the authors and the publishing companies to choose the books. And I would read them ahead of time.
Yeah.
That happened to me once. It won't happen again.
Well, it's called lesson learned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. I'm glad I can look back and laugh now. At the time, it was not funny.
Yeah. No. That sometimes it can be very serious, because you kind of put yourself in a position where you're like, uh-oh, now everybody knows I didn't read it too.
Right.
Yeah.
My reputation is on the line, and I just didn't want my name to be, affiliated with Rated X.
Yeah. So it is good that you're able to actually pick and choose and have the authors and their companies actually pick and say this would be a good choice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you need a little mediator and stuff like that. So that's a good thing to have. Yeah.
Right. So I love self-help books. One of my favorite is How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's my favorite self-help book. But in addition, I love fiction. One of my favorite authors in Sacramento is Suzette Harrison. One of my favorite books that she wrote is Taffy, and she has a degree in history, and so she put a lot of real history mixing with the fiction.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And it makes it really a very neat read. I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite authors that writes love stories is Paulette, and she's phenomenal. I mean, I can go on and on. So, you've got the love stories, the fiction, the self-help. You'll have all of it there on December the 1st.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So you have a lot of genres that you really enjoy. So that's good.
Yes.
That's good. You're well-rounded. Well-rounded, yeah. Some people, they just like fiction. Other people, they'll want that history. Me, I'm actually a manuals person. Like, I can read a manual and I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, well, we don't read manuals.
Yeah. So that's why I'm telling you, like, no, I'm just a manuals person. Like,
that's cute.
Show me how to do it, I'm fine. But fiction, I do find it very difficult sometimes to actually read some fiction books, because my mind and imagination just go off. And then I'm in a movie or something. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be reading the book, not visually seeing everything that's there. But to me, I feel like maybe it's just written so well that I'm visually seeing that part too.
Oh, indeed.
So yeah. So with the poetry club, not poetry club, but the book club, and you were also saying stuff with poetry. Now, are they going to be doing live poetry?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
They'll be doing live poetry. There's going to be a comedian, a songstress, painters. we're going to have it all there. Everyone's going to be very much entertained. And a friend of mine that I've known since I was 12, he has his own vineyard. So we'll be having Paul Charles wine.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah. So for today, now, did you bring any items along with you to kind of showcase?
Oh, yes. This one here is The Giver of Gifts in Light, written by Amy Morton. She has written several children's books. She's totally awesome, and she's going to be one of the authors featured on December the 1st.
And what was the next book that you had?
The next book was written by Charles Dangerfield, no relation, called Filling a Void. He is an excellent author, and he too will be featured on December the 1st. The additional authors that will be featured are Anita McLaurin. She wrote a book called My Father Said I Could. Renowned author and motivational speaker Mariana Sosa. Best-selling author Alton Pete. Life is So Precious. As well as various poets, songsters, comedians, and painters.
Well, thank you, Sunni, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. And I hope to see you again.
You will.
I hope everyone enjoyed the show today. And if you'd like to see more of Random Talk with Kim, you can see that on Access Sacramento on Channel 18.